We'll start with the Sharp Pebble 400. It's a fine 400 grit stone. It's definitely true to grit, very fast wearing, and it's a soaking stone. So for $20, it's a fine stone, or under $20, it's a great stone for that. But just be aware, it's a very fast wearing stone. You definitely don't want to use a stone for knives heat treated over a 50, I would say 58. Under 58, 50, 55, 56, 57, fine. As soon as you hit the 58 mark, this stone will definitely just wear out. Other than that though, it's a fine stone, great 400 grit stone if you just wanted something to practice on and something to kind of, take away some of the rough edges on a knife. The Shopton Pro 320 is a nice stone. For a 320 grit stone, definitely true to grit. I would say knives under a 62 Rockwell will definitely work well in this knife. Anything over a 62 will just kind of be a little slow. And the feedback definitely lessens as you go higher on the Rockwell scale. It stays fairly flat if you have a knife that is not too hard. Knives that are too hard, again, heat treated to a 62 and higher, will definitely start to dish and gully this stone here. Other than that though, it's a very good stone. The Shopton Glass is definitely one of my favorites in this category here. The feedback, the hand feel is really nice. I have really nothing bad to say about this stone here. The only thing negative I have to say about a Shopton Glass stone, especially the 320 grit stone, is it's only giving you 5 millimeters of stone. So it's not a stone that you want to use or flatten too often. If you want to, this stone here definitely is a stone that requires, I would say, care in terms of how to sharpen your knives. You definitely want to move your knives around the surface if you can, as much as you can. Other than that though, it's a really fantastic stone. I really enjoy it. Definitely one of the best stones in this lineup here. This is the Suhiro 320 CRX. It is a fantastic stone. Now, they also make a thinner 320 grit stone, but I was sent the brick. I like it a lot. It's a soaking stone. Very positive feeling. Tactile feedback is awesome. Hand feel, really nice. And it does what a 320 grit is supposed to do. This class of stone here is not a correcting stone. This is a ultra coarse, or this is a coarse sharpening stone. So if you have a really dull knife that needs to get, touched up before you put it onto the 1000 grit stone, the 320 grit stone and 400 grit stone are fine for that. If you want a 320 grit soaking stone, the CRX 320 is definitely the best in my personal opinion. Now the Chaucero 400 is an interesting stone. A lot of folks seem to love this stone. I think it's a decent stone. I think that as a Chaucera, being in the Chaucera family, there's a lot of high expectations for the stone, especially for me, where one of my two of my favorite stones are the Chaucera stones. The 400 grit stone, I think it's fine. I think that it's a little bit pricey for what they are offering. I think that if you wanted a 320 grit to 400 grit stone, the CRX 320 is a much better value and probably even just as good as a performer as the Chaucera. The thing that is lacking on the Chaucera is hand feel. It just doesn't feel great. I feel like there is a grain and that I'm going against the grain for some reason. I know that's an odd thing to say, but as a stone, I think it's a fine cutting stone, definitely very fast, and so I'll give it that. I don't have a lot of pleasure sharpening on this stone, and that's kind of what I look for when I'm sharpening on stones. Hand feel, or how good the knife feels on the stone, and feedback. Those two things are very important to me. Speed would be the third thing that I look for, because speed usually just implies that you have to do an extra 1 or 2 passes. So speed's not something I'm too worried about. This stone definitely excels in speed, and the feedback is decent, but again, hand feel is definitely not very good on the Chaucero 400. Overall, it's a fine stone, but there are definitely better stones in this category than the Chaucera. The next one we have here is the Superstone 400 by Naniwa. Now the 400 grit stone, I'm going to offend a lot of people here, but I really feel like the Naniwa brand should kill their Superstones with grits under 1,000. It just doesn't make any sense. All of their grits that are under 1,000 are really slow, and so this one is extremely slow. Even for a 400 grit stone, you're looking at twice, I would say close to twice of the amount of passes required to achieve a burr compared to any of these other stones here. It's a great feeling stone. It feels really nice. It feels very luxurious. It has a very soft and supple feel as you're sharpening it. It loads up really fast, and that's the other thing about the Superstones that I don't like. They load up extremely fast. Most of these stones here, as they load up and as you're sharpening, the load up actually kind of just falls off of the surface of the stone. Never a really big problem. But with the Superstones, the particulates and the abrasives are not releasing at the same rate that you would expect on a coarse stone, and so the load up happens, and when you have lots of load up happens, your sharpening speed definitely diminishes. And so this stone here, it has okay feedback, and speed is definitely really slow for a 400 grit stone. Don't recommend this stone at all in the 400 grit category. If you really wanted to have a Superstone in your lineup because you have Superstones in the high grits, and that's fine. Price to performance ratios, there are a lot of better stones in this lineup here. So the Craven 400 is actually a really nice stone. It's made by Chaucera, or made by Naniwa in the Chaucera lineup. And so I haven't sharpened this stone side by side with the Chaucera 400, but I really liked this stone, and I didn't really like the Chaucera. So even though they are made under the same umbrella, this is actually a different formula than the Chaucera 400. The only drawback to this one here is I'm not sure if you can buy this by itself. You might have to buy this in a set or in a kit. But overall, though, a very good performer. Very good splash and go. It does absorb a little bit of water when you first use it, which is not a big problem. A lot of splash and goes actually do that. Overall, very good tactile feedback, very good hand feel. Again, the only negative thing here is it's very thin, and for me, especially for those who are sharpening Yanagibas and you want to flatten your stone before every use, this stone here is going to limit that, the lifespan of the stone, because you have to flatten the stone so often. So for me, the best pick in the 320 grit is the CRX 320. It's fast cutting, it's responsive. Tactile feedback is great. So overall, and also the price, it's actually one of the more reasonable price stones here, ironically. For a soaking stone, I would definitely go with the CRX 320. For a splash and go, I think that the Shouting Glass 320 is the best stone in this category here. Overall performance is fantastic. Hand feel is awesome. Feedback, amazing. Now the reason I didn't choose the Kramer is because I haven't used it enough. I've only used it twice, 2 different sharpening sessions, so I don't really know it that well. And also, I'm not really sure if you can buy this by itself. That's why it's not in my top pick. So again, my 2 top picks, Seahiro CRX 320 Soaking Stone, and the Shouting Glass 320 Splash and Go.